Hi, welcome to Miss Music, or welcome back to Miss Music. Now, the ethos behind this channel has been to, to a greater or lesser extent, to promote music and bands that may have passed people by. And I've tried to remember this when choosing my personal favorite albums from last year. And these are my favorite albums from last year, not necessarily an objective best set of albums from last year. Now, I don't know if it's just me not having enough time, enough free time to listen to music this year, but I felt that it was not a prime year for musical releases. I mean, what do you think? Have I missed some great music? Let me know your top albums that I may have missed, especially if they're not on this list. I'd really love to hear them. So at number 10, it's the not very easy to pronounce Shangela Dang by Masterpiece. I know very little about the background of Peace Okusai, but his debut album is just brilliant. He's got this excellent mix of indie, punk, rap, you name it, and he can do it. Shangela Dang is one of those exhilarating albums that makes you really fall in love with music all over again. I've covered this album in another video, so check that out if you want. If you don't know the album and you don't want to listen to the whole album, go and listen to the track Los Narcos. If that doesn't pull you in, I don't know what will. Number 9 then is Letter to You by Boris Popol. Perhaps I'm mispronouncing his name. I'm terribly sorry. This is music which is a little bit out of my comfort zone, and music I kind of find hard to evaluate. I don't have that musical knowledge of this genre, but it's captivating and it's poignant and I love it. This album uses different forms of dance music, electronic music to create something haunting, a haunting soundtrack to the artist's travels to Hong Kong, where his recently deceased mother was born. It really is a lovely piece of work. If you don't know the album, listen to Goodnight, Mr. Yi. This album has a Metacritic rating of 82, so I am not the only one who thought it was great. Number 8, I didn't know whether to put this in or not as a band, and not exactly an unknown band, but I've been playing Cutouts by The Smile a lot, a real lot. And I can't get enough of it. It's not quite Radiohead, but some tracks are pretty close. But, who cares? It's a great piece of work in its own right. Now, I have to get around to listening to their other 2024 release, Wall of Eyes. Is it as good as Cutouts? I really haven't had time to listen to it. Take a listen to Zero Sum if you're missing Radiohead. This is another album on the list that managed a 82 on Metacritic's. Number 7 is Love in Constant Spectacle by Jane Weaver. Now, if maybe like me, you're growing kind of tired of the current pop aesthetic, this kind of auto-tuned, overproduced, sickly sweet sugary music, then Love in Constant Spectacle is a breath of fresh air. The songs are a blend of psychedelic pop and electronic music with folk elements, and listening to it reminded me a little bit of the band Stereolab in places. Check out the opening track, Perfect Storm. This album tops the rest so far with a stonking 84 on Metacritic's. Number 6, and again, I don't know if this should be here. Should I have chose it? I have. It's here. It's an album, the name of which I cannot pronounce, but it's Father John Misty's new album. I'll put the title here. I cannot pronounce it. I saw Josh Tillman last year in London singing the music of Scott Walker, and it was fantastic. And check out the video I made of that concert. But I'm ashamed to say that I've never, ever listened to one of his albums until this new release. His new album is full of tracks that could have been hits in the 70s. You remember the 70s, those weird songs that used to make it to number 1? It's eclectic, and each song feels lush, full of depth. The saxophone features a lot on this album, which is another kind of callback to the 70s. And for me, the standout track is the Serge Gainsborough Melody Nelson inspired song Josh Tillman and The Accidental Dose. It's a brilliant song. The album takes the Metacritic top spot so far with an incredible 85. Number 5 is Flowers of the Soul. I love this album so much. Liana Flores blends folk with Brazilian melodies with a jazz sensibility. You can imagine being transported by this beautiful music into a kind of dark underground jazz cafe. It's just fabulous. Listen to Night Visions to get a feel for this album. Number 4 is Woof by Fat Dog. This one is extremely difficult to describe. It's one of those albums that is musically unique and uniquely odd. The album blends elements of rock, of funk, experimental music, all played by an intensely energetic band. It reminds me, I don't know if you've heard of this band, but it reminds me a little bit of the band Late of the Pier, who appeared, made one brilliant album, ripping up musical genres, and then just disappeared. Listen to the track King of the Slugs to get a feel of this album. It has the lowest Metacritic score on this list of 76. But I'm kind of not surprised. I think a lot of critics just wouldn't have known what to make of this. Number 3, I was lucky enough to see Beth Gibbons at the Barbican in London, and you can check out that video. I'll put the thing up here. She was incredible, and her album Life Outgrown is probably, for me, one of the most rewarding listens of 2024. The album features a blend of atmospheric instrumentation and Gibbons' really haunting emotive vocals exploring themes of loss, introspection, and the passage of time. That's really what the album is about. Floating on a Moment is such a brilliant track. Lives Outgrown takes the Metacritic crown so far with 88 out of 100. And of course, it was nominated for a Mercury Prize. Number 2, then, as the Pixies slowly diminish their status of one of the best bands ever, yes, best ever, Kim Deal continues to cement her reputation. She has an amazing ability to create pop-like songs with the weirdest of structures, unexpected sounds, and lyrics that are both beautiful and puzzling. Nobody Loves You More is Deal's first solo album, and solo albums, in my experience, tend to disappoint, but not this one. It's everything that is great about The Breeders and so much more. It allows Deal to experiment in a way that a band may have restrained. The track Nobody Loves You More has that kind of violin quiver found on early Scott Walker albums. And then it just explodes into kind of Technicolor 1950s horn section. Very brilliant. I can't stop listening to this album. I didn't think there would be anything on this list to beat Beth Gibbons' Metacritic score of 88, but Kim Deal got a Metacritic score of 90. That's just wow. Okay, number 1 then. It was very hard not to put Kim Deal at number 1, I must admit that. But another album this year that's kept me returning to it repeatedly is Marika Harkman's Big Sigh. And I never heard of Marika Harkman till listening to Big Sigh. This is one exceptionally talented musician. Weirdly, and if you listen to the album, maybe you just won't hear it. But weirdly for me, this album reminds me a lot in places of Peter Gabriel. Not every track, but I don't know, it's something to do with the way she builds these kind of weird atmospheres behind the song, and Gabriel does that a lot. Listen to the first track on this album, The Ground, and see what you think. See if you can hear that kind of Peter Gabriel-esque sound. Musically, Big Sigh incorporates rich instrumentation, and Harkman has this really excellent, distinctive vocal, creating an atmospheric and immersive sound. Lyrically, the album explores themes of identity, relationships, and transformations. please, 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 please go and listen to this album. Hackman's work is brilliant, but she's only just beginning, and she's going to get better and better. And, just think of the albums that will come if she is supported. So that's another year. This is my third reflection on favorite albums of the year. Do let me know which ones I've missed. Which were your favorite albums of 2024? It's been such a busy year. I'm sure I've missed loads of good stuff. Please, please, please let me know what I've missed. And thanks for watching. Have a good Christmas.